Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are reacting to Skibidi Toilet is in the most unreal situation ever. All the credit goes to the person that made this, aka Iron Cameraman. So I'm gonna turn it up a bit. It's kind of quiet. That's better.
Across every industry, every possibility. Autodesk. Make anything.
That's alright. In this video, or my channel suddenly disappears, let's be honest, it won't be hard to guess who's behind it. I know I'm taking a risk by posting this, but everything I say here is just my honest opinion, and I am not going to stay silent. Even now, I am not burning bridges, but if they try to silence me or take down the channel, I really hope it doesn't come to that. But either way, I keep you updated on Twitter. Iron Cameraman 7. So this is a disclaimer. I personally kind of agree. I know if I make like some drama video out there, just like talking bad about Invis, they will probably shut my entire channel down. Because let's be honest, guys, it's Invis. They literally stole an entire channel, and this is what I have personally heard. They are doing nothing else with it anymore. Even Strider, someone that is really good at editing, was supposed to take control of the whole animation thing. So if they end up doing this to my channel, I hope you guys know, I will find a way to come back.
Legally, they can't do nothing about it.
Yeah, like he said.
Hello everyone, Iron Cameraman here. It's honestly hard for me to find the right words and pull my thoughts together, because this situation is so messed up that it's hard to believe it's even real. But if we simplify everything down to one single sentence, it would sound like this. After almost 3 years of the Skibidi Toilet series' successful run, a company with big resources and a professional team, Invisible Narratives, is killing an indie project made by one person in an old SFM program, driven only by greed and corporate thirst for money. But this situation isn't as simple as that short phrase makes it sound. If you dig deeper and look at all the evidence piece by piece, you'll realize it's even dumber and more surreal than it first appears. This company doesn't just suck out money and ignore the audience and the franchise they own. They're doing it in a disgusting way. Even when their goal was just to make profit, they completely fail. And the longer you watch this video, the clearer that'll become. Unlike other
He actually kind of has a point literally in already the beginning. A big company that has a whole bunch of resources decides to steal one dude who, let's be honest, is literally just made the first episode as a joke and then ended up becoming the biggest project out there. Turning into a full non-brain rot. Well, it is still kind of brain rot, but like a full literal thing and not just super small project. It is literally just one big project at this point. So he had problems. He went over to a company and they ended up signing this little term of agreement. And then eventually they ended up agreeing, so they teamed up and they started working on this. But eventually he got kicked out of his own project, and it's now we are here. So yeah. Invisible Narratives kind of sucks. Like, they got all the resources they need. They literally now have Strider, another animator, and maybe we'll even watch some of Boom's newer projects, but like, they had everything they need, and then they literally just didn't do nothing. They made like 2 things, probably 3, 4, and then they just stopped. So that's literally the whole point. They're just greedy company. They don't got nothing they want to actually do with it anymore.
Similar situations. This time, the creator of the series, Mr. Boom, didn't just decide to take a break or retire and sell his creation. If that were the case, I wouldn't even be making this video. The thing with Skibidi is that the creator had already sold the rights to the project to the company way back in 2023. Both he and we, the viewers, expected this company to make new skibidi...
On. Everyone, here to confirm this is true. We have been speaking and discussing Skibidi Toilet with Michael for some time now. I can't share any details yet, but I assure you, I will be involved in all the important discussions making. We're gonna cook. Boom. You know, actually, I have heard of this whole Michael Bay thing. I think like some other person had a video out there, and they were saying that pretty much invisible narratives like completely just ruin the movie. Apparently, there's just a giant toilet spraying water out of its mouth, and there's like 3 small cameramans and then TV woman, and then apparently she got the gun and just shoots it. Apparently, it's just that, which, I mean, they really did not do good. They did not cook. They expected them to give Boom some control over the movie. And apparently, Boom hasn't been even able to speak about the movie at all. So, yeah, I don't even know what he's gonna do at this point. But all I do know is that he's working on a new series on a channel called Door Closer. I'm actually been watching it. It's actually kind of good.
Related projects. I mean, this is the same company that brought in Michael Bay himself to make a movie based on our favorite series. As fans, we really believed this would become the next big success.
We will make
among
sure
indie
it's gonna be
projects.
peak.
Something that could reach
It's not
the
peak.
level of Transformers in terms of quality. It could have been proof to all beginner creators that a single passionate and talented person can take their project all the way to Hollywood. Based on Mr. Boom's old...
Actually, that has already happened. So, I don't know the original creator's name, Flip, but I do know he pretty much made a movie, and it actually turned out to kind of be peak. Hold on. I'm gonna see if I could bring it up. I think it's like, what would I have to search? Can I? Oh. Making movie. No, I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for like, okay, so, I'm gonna find this. I will find what this is. 2026. Markiplier has set to make a movie called Iron Lungs. So, yeah. We can see that creators can literally make movies that are masterpieces. That probably took a few minutes off of the... Okay, has this gone from reaction to me searching up something
It's pretty
about
likely
a
that
movie
Michael
that's
Bay was the
already
main
made?
reason he agreed to sign that deal. Considering how much Mr. Boom loves Transformers and even made animations about them at the start of his career.
That's actually true. You could go to all of his old videos. He has a whole bunch of Transformers stuff. I feel like his old videos are actually kind of peak, too. I will not lie.
It's not surprising that no one in his place would have turned down such an offer, especially being just a solo animator whose series suddenly blew up to hundreds of millions of views on YouTube Shorts. Also, keep in mind that the CEO of Invisible Narratives, Adam Goodman, previously worked at Paramount Pictures and DreamWorks. On paper, there really didn't seem to be any reason to worry. With such an experienced founder and such a strong portfolio, what could possibly go wrong? And while we were waiting for the promised new projects, they started mass-producing tons of merch and launching collaborations with various games, while also preparing those very new projects, like Emergence. Meanwhile, the main Skibidi series was still made entirely...
Okay, guys, this is my honest opinion. Emergence episode 1 was actually kind of good. They kind of did do good on that, but they really didn't. They really need to start making more. If they own a whole channel, they should start making more
Mr.
videos.
Boom. He did the animation, the story, the writing, everything.
Papa, am I your favorite grandkid?
Truth is, switching from DirecTV.
For us viewers, all that merch activity was just background noise. We didn't really pay much attention to it. To be fair, most viewers were perfectly fine with the company just helping.
That's also not true. Just search up Skibidi Toilet merch. There's a whole bunch of videos that are just pure brain rot. That are just people opening up all this merch.
Out with merch and collaborations. It seemed fine. Just keep making average quality merch in the background and earn your money. But no, the moment they decided to stick their noses into the series itself and into Boom's channel, they completely tore off their masks and exposed themselves for who they really are. Everything started when the third part of episode 79 and the full version were released, and they were of absolutely terrible quality. Right after that came the first episode of the new series, Emergence, and just a week later, a compilation of the first episodes, without any updates, no changes, not even fixing the video format, which was still in the shorts layout instead of full screen. What's even funnier is that at the end of this compilation, a narrator repeats the most obvious things we literally just saw. And then, in a separate short, that same narrator again explains that Skibidi Toilet actually has a story, while making mistakes in the canon. They couldn't even retell Alexei's plot correctly. Here's one example. The narrator claims that TV Man...
A Titan who becomes the leader of the Alliance, including a Titan of theirs who became the leader of the... Oh my god. As soon as this loads, I'm gonna literally just listen to what he literally has to say. Because, like, since
Titan
when...
is the leader of the Alliance, which is completely wrong. And as for the Emergence trailer...
Wait, let's read that.
The leader of the Alliance, which is...
The way the Alliance works is... Now, is the closer... I really can't lose that arm. There is no king or commander that gives out orders. No, it's a matter of discussion and multiple understanding. But Titans do have the top priority when it comes to battle. There is no there is no
and
leader.
As for the Emergence trailer, I think it speaks for itself without any
I
commentary.
thought it was good.
In short, the last 6 videos released on Boom's channel were absolutely worthless, especially when compared to all the previous episodes. And, suspiciously enough, all of this lined up perfectly with the launch of the new toy collection, the announcement from Invisible Narratives that they'd start producing weekly content, and the news that Boom would now be a producer, focusing on special episodes while Invisible handled the main work to mass-produce low-effort trash content. By the way, regarding episode 79 part 3 and the full episode, those weren't made by Invisible, they were 100% made by Mr. Boom himself. But why were they so bad? Why were there fart sounds every 2 seconds? You'll understand that by the end of this video, because the episode came out raw, not only due to the insane deadlines forced by Invisible, but also because Boom...
The fact that he said, why was there fart sounds every 2 seconds? Bruh. I thought you... Grown adult, by the way. This is a grown adult making this stuff. And literally, he just goes like... Why was it so trash? Why was there fart sounds every 2 seconds? And then just literally put diarrhea sounds. I shouldn't be talking about this because that one's not really made for kids. But it wasn't anyways. But like, the flip? That wasn't needed. We didn't need any of that extra commentary. Holy flip, man. Like, jeez. You're a grown adult. Wow.
Used it to send a meta message to the viewers. The entire plot of that episode is actually a metaphor, using the characters to represent real-life events. but we'll get to that later. To keep your brain from overloading during this intro, just remember this one thing. Everything you're about to hear and see next came from Invisible Narratives and their so-called new team, who, in Boom's own ironic words, understand the
now I
DNA of
remember.
Skibidi Toilet and know what they're doing.
You could literally see the
So let's start
you
with
could
the
literally
emergence
see him
series,
recording off
the
a
product
phone.
entirely made by the company, not by Boom himself. Sure, he's credited as a producer, but it'll soon become clear that he had absolutely nothing to do with it. And frankly, even though it's visible to the naked eye, I'll still explain why absolutely no one liked this episode. With every new minute of this video, the cons will get more and more absurd. So brace your nerves. I'll start with the smallest thing.
The Invisate will get even bigger and bigger as this video goes on. How long are we even into this? We're only 6 minutes into this video and this dude has already made one inappropriate joke. Over 100 different insults straight to Invisible Narratives. And literally, so much so much proof. Can this dude please calm down for 10 seconds?
Color grading and post-production. In other words, they somehow made worse the very things that Boom had already finished properly in SFM. It's easy to see in this moment, in episode 71, where this scene was taken from, there's a light white haze, and the contrast isn't pushed to insane levels, which is why you can see small details on the Titans. And in the redone version, not only is the fog either missing or replaced with black smoke, but the reshade is set so that the Titans' main bodies merge into one flat blackness. Yes, someone might object and say heavy contrast is a matter of taste, but if that's the case, why couldn't they, for example, ask Strider to make a proper reshade? He gets exactly the result where the detail is excellent and the colors are rich. On top of all that, there's the super slow motion, which ruins the image even more. The problem is that making slow motion out of animation that wasn't designed for it is a bad idea, because the movement becomes choppy and unnatural. Like the character is floating in jelly. The camera seems to move slowly, but the gestures are jerky, because there are no new poses between frames, just stretched old ones. As a result, it looks cheap, unnatural, and it completely kills the sense of weight in the movement. Next, the problem with transitions. Suppose, here the transition between the scene where the Skibidi Toilets attack and the scene with the Cameramen 3.0 attacking is so slow and pathetic that, because of the level of flashes and gunfire in both scenes, when combined it turns into an incomprehensible
Why is there
mush
so
of
much green?
spotlights and light. I'm already keeping quiet about the green filter. And the funniest part is that after this long transition, literally half a second later, the scene changes to the next one where Executor appears, meaning we didn't even properly see the actual scene. Here's another transition that's just unbelievably awful, and now I'll explain why. Let's start with the fact that, ideally, this transition itself is unnecessary. It didn't need to be added at all, but we'll talk about that later in the story section. Okay, let's assume the cut really was needed. Then, because the previous scene ends with running, and the next one starts with the characters already standing, our brain loses the bridge between actions. You get the feeling of jumpy editing, as if a piece of action is missing. Even if everything is logically clear, emotionally the moment is cut off. The viewer is thrown out of the scene. You can notice that from my first reaction. And I'm not going to explain the basics of how
Exactly
to do
my
cuts.
point,
If you need
grown
it,
man.
pause here. Here are a couple of options for how editors do it.
Match cut, cut on action, motivated cut, cut by scale.
This is
Sorry,
literally the
I need that.
foundation, and every editor is obliged to know it. And honestly, I'm surprised no one in post noticed it. Although, considering all the next shortcomings, this is still just the tip of the iceberg. For example, please explain to me why one person in the old, buggy SFM managed to make proper character textures and lighting, but an entire creative team of professionals in the ultra-modern Unreal Engine did not. They are exactly the ones who should have helped move the series.
Full creative team to help take the series to a next level. You know what? Let's read this. Every imagined now with my partner at a Visible Narratives, I'm stepping into the role of exclusive producers alongside a full creative team to help take the series to another level. I've worked with Invisible Narratives from early on.
Series quality to a new level, the very next level. If you don't
I think
understand
we're
what I'm
going
talking about, here's an example. Look, say at
Never
the close
mind.
of this TV man. Now, look at a TV man from the main series. Even to the naked eye, it's clear that in Emergence, the model is soapy and flat with no texture. And it'd be one thing if the problem were only that. It gets even worse because of the lack of proper lighting. Now compare these shots with the ones Boom did alone in SFM. If someone thinks I'm nitpicking, don't forget, quality is in the details. Individually,
It does
each of
say
these
next level.
problems may seem
So,
minor, but together
quality's
the
in the
difference is
details
just
of next
crazy.
level.
To demonstrate this clearly, I asked my friend, who knows SFM well, to make a poster and show exactly where the difference lies between a refined image, like Boom did, and the one shown in the Emergence series. I could spend hours explaining what's wrong with the scene build and locations, why they look
He
so
doesn't.
empty. But really,
We get
what
it.
is there to explain? You can just look at this weird location where TV Woman was. The location is made so badly that I still don't fully understand what this place even is. Apparently, it's some kind of TV men base. But if it's really a base, then why out of all TV men are only TV Woman and Polycephaly there? Okay, about exposition. That's a separate topic.
I don't think polycephaly is a confirmed real name. I think it was just on one dude's video, because I seriously know I know Maxity's channel. He does say polycephaly, but I don't think that's a confirmed name. I think that's a fan-made name or a made-up name.
We'll come back to it. For fairness, I'll say that compared to the other parameters, scene build at least exists somewhere. For example, outside at the beginning, you can see they added a reasonable number of details like debris. But even here, there's a catch. The particles used for fire and explosions look like someone just inserted a PNG. The textures are so blurry it's hard to believe. Come on, this is Unreal Engine, not SFM, which is known for its bugs and crashes. There, just to make particles work properly, you have to add dozens of scripts so that the program doesn't crash. We won't go far. Let's open the very latest SFM episode and look at this scene. Look how juicy the fire looks. And now, look at what they did here. Not only do the Astro toilets shoot like they're blind, literally from 3 meters and can't hit, the whole action boils down to endless shooting at nothing. Because of that,
To be fair, I think they're doing that on purpose so they could keep the story going, because if one person got hit, it just ends there. So I think they're just doing that to give it more creative thing. So I don't think they were doing it just because they wanted to. I think, well, they were, but like, I don't think they were doing, because, okay, so if I literally, let's say I had like a character, I get them hit early on, and then they die, the story just ends there. There's nothing else. So they have to make them miss so there's more plot and storyline to it, and it just isn't boring. So I think that's the whole point.
we simply watch the character run through clumps of soapy light, the camera shakes, and nothing is clear. And it
Since I get the chance, I'm skipping this.
And again, we return to the problem of scene choreography and exposition. It's so bad that
Okay,
even
what the
while
flip was
breaking
that?
down the fire issue, it's impossible not to mention it. But again, be patient. I left the plot and exposition for dessert, because that's where the total collapse is. Now let's talk about character animation and their speech. The most telling example of what's wrong is the scene where Hunter grabbed Lucky Cameraman. Lucky is just kicking his legs, and it gives the impression he isn't resisting at all. Okay, it would be one thing if at least, story-wise, it looked cool. But no, even Hunter's speech sounds as clunky and on the nose as possible. He literally spells out what's supposed to happen. Hunter says, "You're coming with me alive and you will die," addressing POV.
No, he doesn't say that. He says, Okay, let's read what he actually says, shall we?
Hunter says, "You're
I'll deliver you
coming
alive,
with me alive and you will die."
but your friends will pay. He doesn't say, you're coming with me alive, but your friends will die. He says, but I will deliver you alive, but your friends will pay.
Addressing POV. But why even say that out loud? A script has to be written between the lines, not hammered in so bluntly. The fact that Lucky is captured by an enemy and POV is doomed could have easily been shown with a single piece of animation. It's the same as if, in the episode where Speakerman Titan was infected, the Skibidi scientist had spoken straight into a loudspeaker. Speakerman Titan is infected. Now he's on our side, the Skibidi toilets, and he will kill you. Problem with such lazy and boring exposition is that it feels like we're watching a cartoon for 2-year-old kids, where everything is chewed up for us. The viewer isn't given the opportunity to figure out anything on their own. And how should exposition be done correctly, you might ask? There are many ways. You can, like in episode 77, imply things between the lines if you really want to add words, and then remove POV using the infected. Or, as in the case of Speakerman Titan's infection, simply show the Titan starting to kill his own side, and then POV, viewers will understand what happened anyway. Viewers see and understand everything perfectly without hints, and if something remains unclear, even better. It provokes discussions, generates
I didn't know Film
theories,
Theory
and
made a
starts
whole
word
thing
of
about
mouth.
Skibidi
Many YouTube
Toilet.
channels, including mine, exist because of that. The interest in a mysterious story. But when the story is dumped on you in words and you already know what will happen because the villain literally says it out loud, then what's even the point of viewers discussing this shallow junk? A work of art is, first and foremost, a language of actions, not words. In life, we rarely voice the obvious, especially in tense moments. We show it through action.
Still so
And again,
inappropriate for
every
a
drawback
grown man
comes down
to
to the problem of
put
bad
that
exposition
involved.
and a complete disconnect from the audience. They have no idea what we want. But it's still too early to dig into that. Moving on. In this block, I've gathered an openly couldn't-care-less attitude toward details. For example, in this scene where the Astro toilet saw Boom's notice addressed to Lucky, some of them aren't even looking at the screen. Just look at this mess. This isn't a joke. Seriously, the person who animated this scene didn't even align those poor Astro toilets. Some of them are literally looking at the wall. I'm already silent about the fact that a whole hyper-large Astro empire didn't think up a technology like a sensor that would automatically locate televisions with a broadcast, so they wouldn't have to use combat soldiers, one per screen. In this series, the Astro toilets are shown as complete idiots. You simply can't believe that such a thing could be done by a super powerful cosmic empire. Okay, if these weren't direct combat units, but say some interesting characters with tentacles with eyes at the ends, so they could watch several screens at once, or some other designs. I mean, they could have invented new characters whose purpose is to be observers, and it would look a bit more interesting. But the problem isn't even that. That's more of a mini nitpick. The problem is a bit broader. It turns out these combat units, manually, for hours, just stood there waiting for something to appear. Because we know transmissions had been turned off before by the Alliance, so their locations wouldn't be exposed. And what's even funnier, the secret agent sent a message to Lucky to all the tablets and TVs in the world, but for some reason, along with it, he turned on Lucky's own broadcast and noticed that only his broadcast turned on. As a result, the Astro Trooper who was standing by the TV showing Lucky Cameraman's stream saw that Lucky was looking into his very screen and that he himself was there with his back turned, which made him realize Lucky was standing right behind him, and he turned around. It's just a disgrace. How could they mess up logic so badly and make a scene like that? What are the chances that among tens of thousands of screens, Lucky's transmission would turn on exactly on this one, at the exact moment he looked through the gap, and at the same moment when the secret agent turned it on? Do you understand this is nonsense stacked on nonsense? I'm already keeping quiet about the fact that the secret agent had never before had any trouble talking to Lucky directly. Why leak all this information to the entire Alliance? He's the secret agent, for crying out loud. The word secret is in his name. This is the most ridiculous thing they could have shown, and it's done only to somehow move the plot forward. Well, if it had to be this way, at least they could have given a story reason why he had to tell everyone. Whoever wrote this completely ignored logic. There are many such moments done just to be there, without much sense. Because of this, it feels like the person who wrote the script and the one who did the storyboards didn't communicate with each other. The most harmless example is the scene at the TV men base. TV woman, speaker man, the cameraman scientist, and polycephaly are there. Weird company, isn't it? Why exactly them and why are they together? And I'll tell you why. This is only my assumption, but most likely simply because they're different species. I mean, showing all the species in one frame was apparently the end goal, not a
Not
necessity.
species,
Or here's another
races.
detail. At the moment when POV pulls out the photo with the Alpha Hills staff, not only is the animation jerky, he also for some reason flips the photo over a second time to look at the back. Even though he already saw it when he picked the photo up off the floor, what's the point of flipping it? Although, in principle, the fact that everything is unfinished isn't even surprising anymore. I already mentioned the animation quality above, but I'll add something else while I remember. Let's comment on this moment too. As you can see, here the same animation just repeats again and again. That is, apparently they finished this scene and then decided to add this dumb scene that was supposed to be the funny part of the episode. Because of that, they didn't have any additional frames, and they just looped the existing animation at the moment when the camera zoomed out from the TV without even trying to fix or refine it. I simply have no words to describe how little they care about quality. Moving on, this still isn't everything. The moment of Hunter's appearance wasn't even animated, just a black screen for a few seconds, and then he's already in the frame. Come on, if you were too lazy to make a full scene, at least do it like in SFM with static from debris impact or something. That would look atmospheric. Why did you have to make such a lazy transition? And in general, we've seen many times how strong the secret agent is. Couldn't he make Lucky invisible at the moment of the attack? Especially since this isn't some ordinary agent, but his main assistant, and with a green spark at that. And the ending with TV Woman's face perfectly reflects my reaction to everything I saw. The light falls so that she looks like a black blot with a TV. And here we smoothly approach the main problem of this whole masterpiece. Even if you ignore all the above shortcomings, it's still impossible to understand what's going on. As I already said, I literally had trouble figuring out where exactly the characters are and what the location is. I think you already guess what the root of this entire catastrophe is, in the exposition and in the way the story is told. Even if it's not really so, but even imagining that on paper the story's skeleton was at least watchable and logically combined with the main narrative, the way they showed it, it's just awful. Count it on your fingers. They showed the very first TV man death. They showed the secret weapon that had been hinted at for so long in previous episodes of the main storyline. They showed Alpha Hills captured by the Astro Toilets. They showed how the secret agent talked to Lucky Cameraman, and how Lucky Cameraman suddenly got a green spark and became acidic. In addition, they revealed what Lucky needs to do to launch that very secret weapon. And as soon as he learned it, the villains had already managed to steal it. And all this in 5 minutes of runtime. Why 5 minutes, you ask? Because for the first 2 minutes, they just showed old footage from the series, with a girl in the background giving a lead-in to the secret agent's message. Then, for 20 seconds, we watched the intro and logos. And at the end, for a whole minute under default epic music from any action trailer, they once again reminded us that this is a new series, and wrapped it all up with toy ads. And you don't need to be a professional in storytelling to understand it's impossible to cram so many events into 5 minutes and make it watchable, even if you showed everything perfectly. Is it really possible that among this entire new team there wasn't a single person who would say, "Stop, this is crap, let's do it properly"? It's so obvious that even I, an ordinary person, immediately understood what the problems were. And the great Adam Goodman, who has worked in this industry for many years in high positions, approved this crap for publication. And was there really not a single person at any stage of this garbage's production from Invisible who honestly said that they were going in the wrong direction? After all, the problem isn't in the new engine and not in the fact that viewers got used to SFM, so they hate it. I perfectly understand that SFM isn't Hollywood-grade software, and sooner or later it probably made sense to start making the series on more modern engines and technologies. But the problem here is much deeper. It's a problem of approach. When you see this attitude toward beloved characters, your heart genuinely bleeds. If Invis were in anyone else's place, they would have deleted this episode long ago after the feedback it received, or at least made a public statement, admitted their mistakes, and honestly talked to the viewers about the obvious problems. But how Invisible Narratives reacted to all this is a separate topic, so let's move on.
Join Planet Fitness for $1 down. $15
How many
a month,
chapters
get free
are
massage
there?
amenities all month long. Deal ends May 15th.
We're only on chapter 2.
This game,
Mm,
you're not ready for it.
I'm about to smash my head through a wall. Like, okay, it's only the second chapter out of all of this, and I've been recording for 35 minutes now. My back is starting to hurt. I could have edited 5 different videos by this time. This is taking forever. This is a 1 hour and 16 minute video. We're only on chapter 2. Like, they could have taken this whole thing and split it up into different videos. It would have been a lot easier to handle with that than handling anything else. So I'm going to end this here. Tomorrow, I'm going to pick back up, because this is taking forever. Chapter 2 is going to be tomorrow. Chapter 3, 4, probably 800 billion. We'll continue doing that every single day. But anyways, peace out. We're going to learn more about this Invis stuff, because I mean, I personally know a lot about it, but this is taking forever. So peace. See you tomorrow, and hope you guys enjoy the hide and seek video when that comes out, because I mean, that's going to be very epic. It's going to lead into 2 more projects I've been actually planning to make. So peace. We'll watch chapter 2 tomorrow. Bye.